Ever wonder how people build arguments that seem, well, just completely airtight? Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a blueprint used by legal scholars to do exactly that. It's a powerful form of structured thinking called student legal note, and it's basically a masterclass in how to win an argument. Let's dive in. So, our journey starts here, in the world of legal academic writing scholarship. Now, this crest, it isn't just some fancy logo. Think of it as a seal of approval from a world that is a complete battlefield for ideas, where every single claim is challenged and every argument has to be forged in fire. This is the standard of precision we're aiming for. This old Latin saying really gets to the heart of why this stuff matters so much. Ignorance of the law excuses no one. For a legal writer, a single fuzzy word isn't just a typo. It's a crack in the foundation that could bring the whole argument tumbling down. Every sentence has a job, and it has to do it flawlessly. All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to figure out the mission. What is a legal writer even trying to do? Then, we'll reveal the secret blueprint they all follow. After that, we get to the beating heart of the argument itself. And finally, we'll look at the kind of discipline it takes to turn that blueprint into a reality. Okay, section 1, the scholar's mission. So let's get right to it. What in the world is a student legal note? Because, I'll tell you, it's not just another term paper. To really get why it's so powerful, you have to understand its goal, which is incredibly ambitious. At its core, a legal note has one primary job: to make an original contribution to the conversation. It's about finding a real problem in the law, explaining exactly how things work right now, and then, and this is the most important part, arguing for a better way forward. And it has to be written so clearly that any smart person can understand it, not just a lawyer. So, how do you actually build an argument that's so bulletproof? Well, you don't just wing it. You start with a time-tested blueprint. And this structure, it isn't some restrictive cage. It's more like the steel frame of a skyscraper. It's what gives the whole thing its strength. Let's break down the 5 parts. Think of it like this. The introduction is the grand lobby. It has to hook you and show you a glimpse of the final vision. Part 1 is where you pour the solid concrete foundation. Part 2 is like a tour of the building as it currently stands. Part 3 is the big reveal, where you unveil your brilliant new design. And the conclusion? That's a final walkthrough that convinces everyone how great your plan is. Now, the whole key to part 1 is orientation, not persuasion. Not yet. You're just giving your reader a map and a compass. You have to assume they're smart, but that they've never been to this specific place before. If they get lost here, you've lost them for the whole trip. Okay, foundation is poured. Let's move to part 2. Here, you switch hats and become a totally neutral tour guide. You're just walking the reader through the legal landscape exactly as it is, warts and all. The conflicting cases, the different ways people interpret things, you lay it all out. And crucially, you do it without taking a side. You're just showing them the before picture. And that brings us to the main event. This is what everything else has been building towards. The tour is over. Now, the writer stops being a guide and becomes the architect. This is where the real argument begins. Seriously, everything, the foundation, the survey of the problems, it was all leading to this moment. Part 3 is the engine room of the whole paper. Here, you finally stop describing and you start prescribing. You diagnose the problem and you present your unique solution. This right here says it all. You're taking chaos and you're creating clarity. This is your voice, your analysis, your solution. So what's the secret to making sure that solution is razor sharp and not just more noise? It comes down to one simple test. It all comes down to this number, 1. One single, crucial rule that governs the strength of your entire argument. And there it is. Your entire thesis, your whole argument, has to be boiled down into a single, powerful sentence. If you can't do it, it means your idea is probably too vague or you haven't thought it through enough. And once you have that sentence, it becomes your North Star. Every single thing you write from that point on must serve to prove it. So, we have the blueprint. But a blueprint is just paper, right? Now we gotta talk about the construction, the discipline it takes to turn that plan into a solid reality. These are the habits of a master builder. Great writing isn't born from a sudden flash of genius. It's built, brick by brick, through deliberate habits. It's about showing up consistently, obsessing over that core idea, and having a strategy for when you inevitably hit that wall, because you will. This right here busts a major myth about creative work. We all picture the writer fueled by caffeine pulling an all-nighter, But the reality of real progress is much quieter. It's found in short, regular sessions. Success isn't about intensity, it's all about momentum. Now, here's a pro tip that feels kind of backward at first, but it is absolutely crucial. Strong writing isn't about what you add, it's about what you take away. The real magic happens in the cutting room. Editing isn't just cleanup, it's where you find the sculpture inside that big block of stone. And being a ruthless editor means being relentlessly focused on the reader and the argument. You have to be willing to cut those clever phrases that don't actually add value. You have to delete entire sections if they don't directly support your one-sentence thesis. The goal is always, always clarity over flair. So let's zoom out here for a second. We've been deep in the weeds of legal notes, but this is about way more than that. Whether you're pitching a business idea, writing a research paper, or even just trying to win a debate with a friend, these principles of clear thinking apply everywhere. The ultimate lesson here is pretty universal. A powerful argument, no matter the field, is built on two pillars: a rock-solid logical structure and a relentless, ruthless focus on proving one single core idea. You master those two things, and you can build a case for anything. And that leaves us with a final thought. This methodical approach isn't some secret reserved just for lawyers. It's a toolkit for anyone who wants to make a case for something they believe in. So the real question is, what argument would you build if you had this blueprint?
For more tools and reference guides, visit the L.A.W.S Toolkit.